The cover page of One Punch Man Chapter 206, titled Special, features the Neo Hero security officers Element and Destro. Last time, I asked you guys how long you think it'll be before Murata features the new girl on a cover. If your guess was immediately, then you were right on the money. Everyone in the meeting room paused at their entrance. They approached the two troublemakers and urged them to be civil towards their fellow Neo heroes. Because these guys are not Neo leaders, Destro politely asked them to leave, which Mars was not very happy about. They guided them elsewhere. Mars cursed the two. He was looking down on them for their position as security guards, and told them not to carelessly touch him since his wrist is broken. Then he turned his fury on Coco. The cyborg was still shaking in his boots. They agreed to take down one of the Neo leaders to prove themselves and claim the position. Yet when push came to shove, the Bolt had lost his spine. The man did not respond or react in the slightest. Mars wondered what was up. At this point, Coco was practically leaking motor oil. This was due to the body modification rates of the guards behind them. Destro promised to take Mars to the recovery room. His modification rate is 94%. Element's modification rate is 95%. Generally, 30% is the norm for a cyborg. Anything over 60% is exceptionally rare and incredibly dangerous. You could end up with something like cyberpsychosis from the Cyberpunk series, which is supposedly what happened to Genos' mortal enemy, Mad Cyborg. For now, Genos' modification rate is unknown, but Wavy Gaza's 71% was enough to make Coco lose his nerve immediately, which is why he refused to upset these two in the slightest. Back in the meeting room, Wild Emperor noticed that something was up with the idol hero. Wavy Gaza dropped to her knees while holding her face. The kid rushed to her side, wondering what was wrong. He quickly told Mr. McCoy to call the medical team. Wavy Gaza raised a hand to let him know that she's alright. It's just a minor headache. She continued to say that due to her modification surgery, her brain has been connected to the main server of Neo Heroes headquarters. Since then, she's felt like someone is reaching inside her mind and snooping around. This revelation made Wild Emperor shudder. Then she met his eyes with a disturbing intensity. Data infiltration is Wild Emperor's field of expertise. It's how he uncovered the many unsavory secrets that the Hero Association had been hiding. But it looks like doing so against the Neo Heroes will be far more difficult than he expected. Suiru lifted the idol like a princess before the kid could respond. He planned on taking her to the infirmary. Yet again, he felt a strange heat radiating from her body. The martial artist chalked it up to being a high fever. He admired her for enduring it for as long as she has. Wavy Gyaza protested. She insisted on him putting her down. Suiru assured his crush that she could leave it up to him. Wild Emperor sighed in relief. That was way too close. Suiru returned a moment later to ask where the infirmary even is. Metal Bat was just happy to know that at least the guy's heart is in the right place. Wavy Gyaza bonked him on the head. She made it clear that this is her normal body temperature. Suiru couldn't believe it. Metal Bat chimed in to say that she looks fine to him. Infelsinave took stock and concluded that they're all a bunch of weirdos. Zaydats gave him an incredulous look. It takes one to know one, I guess. From there, Mr. McCoy introduced Metal Bat as the strongest pacifist brawler. He added that the former S-Class hero switched over to Neo Heroes so he could become someone his little sister can be proud of. This prompted Ryuman to consider him an idiot. Metal Bat smiled. He laughed loudly and admitted that the gang leader isn't wrong. He accepted that being a bit of an idiot was better than being subtle when it comes to their line of work. Then he approached Ryuman and decided to accept the comment as a compliment from his senpai. They were now face to face. With a sly grin, Metal Bat expressed his belief that the two of them would get along well. Ryuman met his gaze with a furrowed brow. You gotta love Metal Bat. Seeing the old school delinquent archetype in action like this is like seeing Yusuke Urameshi in the modern day. This is a very hard-boiled moment. But it was interrupted by Mr. McCoy, who sought to get them all back on track. There was one more person to be introduced. He's been sitting in the back this entire time. In fact, he's the one who laid the groundwork for the Neo Heroes in the first place. They totally expect him to become the symbol of a new heroic age. This is the man at the very top, the #1 Neo leader. Saitama focuses his attention since infiltrating the upper echelon is his current objective. Mr. McCoy beckoned the man to introduce himself to them all. Now standing, the noticeably young man let them know that his name is Blue. He went on to say that the Neo Heroes organization was created for the sake of showing the world what real heroes look like. He is well aware of the difficulties associated with such a task. So in order to restore peace, he believes that they need to totally dedicate themselves to the banner of justice. He urged them all to work together and join forces with him. A expresses surprise towards a 10-year-old child like Wild Emperor being a Neo leader. But learning that the one above them all is a 16-year-old boy was even harder to believe. The special A-class hitman must really have been living under a rock, since Wild Emperor was an S-class hero before this, and Metal Bat was only 17 as one. However, Zaydat's made it clear that Blue is special. Saitama wondered what the man meant by that. Which brings us to the big reveal. Blue is the son of Blast. Oh my goodness, he has the same eyes as his father, along with similar gloves. This is crazy for a number of reasons. Firstly, we know that the Neo Heroes are running a very dirty operation. Aside from making use of several criminals and engaging in plenty of illegal activity, there is no doubt that God's influence is deeply rooted in their operations. For more in-depth details on all that, you can check out this video. Meanwhile, Blue's father Blast has been on a campaign against God for decades. More specifically, he's been doing so for 20 years. Since Blue is apparently 16 years old, he was only 4 when this all began. Granted, it's only been 2 years since Blast made direct contact with the entity. But considering Blue's wording of real heroes and such, he clearly isn't on the best terms with his father. Whatever the case, this is an incredibly fascinating development that should finally get some of you guys to stop calling this Neo Hero stuff filler. But even if it's not enough to change your mind, it doesn't really matter, because the simultaneous rush of a gravity knuckle and dimensional blade have brought us back to the heat of battle. The gravitational fist of Blast crashed into the Universal Ninja's jaw before his sword could connect. We are so back! After months of waiting, Peak One Punch Man has returned with the climactic fight of 2 of its strongest combatants. Not to mention the addition of yet another. The Neo Heroes are most definitely a threat to be reckoned with. I know you guys have been desperately waiting for this series to return to its proper form, just like I have. If you've been sticking around all this time, despite 2024 being the worst year of One Punch Man yet, pat yourselves on the back and prepare for all the hype to come. As always, I am Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.